Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Good Boxing Podcast with your host, Josh Size. And I'm going to jump right into this episode. I'm sure you guys have seen the clips. I'm sure you were all anxiously awaiting. I mean, I kind of say that facetiously because let's be honest, this particular figure is very polarizing in boxing. Now, Ryan Garcia basically was seen training at the Canelo team gym. The clips, if you want to check them out, they're actually on the shorts aspect of the channel. If you want to go check them out, I got a couple of clips up of Ryan Garcia training. Definitely go check those out. But whether you hate him or you love him, Ryan Garcia is an integral part of 135 pounds. Yesterday, Javier Fortuna took on Jojo Diaz, and that was actually going to be originally Ryan Garcia's opponent, but due to mental health issues, he decided to pull out and actually scrap the entire card. It actually built this entire narrative that a lot of people at 135 pounds are ducking Javier Fortuna. And Jojo Diaz put that to rest yesterday with a fantastic performance, got a unanimous decision over Javier Fortuna. I was going for Fortuna. I thought he was going to be too big and eventually would stop Jojo Diaz due to the fact that he had a lackluster performance against Rachmanov, but he pulled through. So Ryan Garcia actually had an opportunity to really, really set a statement if he would have fought Javier Fortuna. And looking at the Fortuna I saw yesterday, I think Ryan Garcia would have truthfully smoked um, Javier Fortuna. Fortuna looked lackluster. He looked a little lazy. He honestly, credit to Jojo Diaz, but Javier Fortuna had pockets where he looked good, but I don't know if it was the ring rust or the body shots and the lefty on lefty. He just looked like he was off a little bit, but shout out to Jojo Diaz. Javier Fortuna, you had your opportunity, and just as always, you decided to squander it. I mean, you're competitive with a lot of people, but then you end up never really pulling off the wins you have to pull off. But this isn't about Javier Fortuna. Ryan Garcia, you see the videos, he looks a little unsharp. His speed isn't as necessarily as fast as it normally is. His punches weren't sharp. This version of Ryan Garcia doesn't beat any of the top guys at 135 pounds. However, I'm not going to sit here and speculate about that because we're talking about a very, very young man in his early 20s who's been dealing with mental health issues. Now, where does he go from here? Because when you're a public figure, you have to understand that that comes with issues. It comes with pressures that are built in and inherent responsibilities. You have to always be on your game. You can't squander. You can't show that you're mentally weak, especially in boxing. However, I kind of go back and forth with this, and I don't want to judge someone based off their mental issues because, truthfully, podcasters, media, we all speculate about what's going on. Only the people that know Ryan Garcia truthfully know what's going on. People like his dad, people like Canelo, people like his trainer. Believe it or not, your trainer knows more about you than maybe you know about yourself. You know, you constantly are pushing buttons and constantly probing your fighters when you're training them, and you could kind of see their temperaments, where their heads are at, etc., etc. Now, will boxing accept Ryan Garcia back? And that's kind of the question I wanted to talk about today because while old school throwback and very, very hypercritical people of Ryan Garcia are going to say that he is mentally weak, however, knowing and having the fortitude and the wherewithal and self awareness to know that you're not okay, to me, can be a strength. I think if you know, like, hey, I'm just not into this shit anymore, I don't love it anymore, you're not going to work as hard as you think by just powering through. You may be going through the motions, and that may work for certain people, but not everyone works that way. Not everyone likes to bury themselves in work and bury themselves doing something that they don't enjoy. He's a young kid who's been boxing since he's a little kid, literally since he was, I think, 8 or 9. I forgot. I did the Ryan Garcia special. It's actually on the podcast. It's not a video one, but it is a part of this. Or go to the not Captivate. Go to Spotify or Apple if you want to hear that Ryan Garcia story. It's actually pretty interesting. But you can't say the kid hasn't been putting in work. He's been grinding so hard for his whole life. Literally, he's a young man. So half his life has been dedicated to boxing. When you really, really put that into perspective, it, it's not impossibly, in my opinion, profound that he wanted to take a break. All right, he signed a fight coming off the hardest fight of his life where he got dropped, got back up off the floor versus Luke Campbell. He sees that social media clip played over and over. Everyone's talking about you. Oh, Ryan Garcia, you're soft. Oh, if Tank did this or Tio did that, or Devin Haney, when are you going to fight your friend Devin Haney, who you fought several times and grown to actually, in a sense, love, right? When you share the ring with someone 4 times, there's a mutual respect. They're around the same people. You know the same people. You've probably texted one another. You guys are coming up together, having the same dream. It's hard. This stuff is hard. Even at the amateur level, I can't imagine when you have all the eyes that are on Ryan Garcia between his podcast, his YouTube channel, Instagram. Kid is busy. But what I am happy to see is, and I'm just going to be a human here. I'm not even going to be the podcaster. I'm just going to talk from my personal experience, and what I see is I see a young man basically learning how to be within himself and stand on his own legs. I see someone that has so many different things going on, and it's a lot for a young kid. You know, they say that your brain stops developing when you're 26, 27 later on in life, and the kid is only 24 or 20, 23. He's very, very young, and development takes time. And I think he's learning to deal with the pressure. I really, really like something that a major rap artist spoke about in the early part of his career. And it's hard when you're learning to not fit in, but you're actually learning to stand out. And then when you're standing out amongst your peers become your enemies. And that's kind of where I feel Ryan Garcia is. People want to wish him bad. People don't want to see him succeed. But also, you have a bunch of fans that you don't want to let down. And that pressure just weighing over you, weighing over you. You're undefeated, good looking. I want to say millionaire, but I don't know his finances. I don't really. But with all the income streams and the marketability that this kid has, he's definitely made a bunch of money. And all that before you're 25, it's a lot. So I'm just happy to see the kid back in the gym. I'm happy to see him just perfect his craft. And I hope he can learn to use the grind and boxing to get through his tough parts, get through the tough parts of his life. And I just mean that personally. I really hope he's okay. And it's good to have him back in the mix because yesterday Jojo Diaz showed 135 is deep, deep, deep. And I keep saying that the Nakatanis of the world, the Fortunas of the world, you got Jojo Diaz now, who's basically number one contender out of nowhere after moving up from 126 not too long ago. 135 is insane. Loma, Tank with his perform, like this division is ready to just bust. And if you add Ryan Garcia in the mix, it's only going to get bigger and better. So I understand where he's coming from. That fall in love with boxing again, see if you love it. And if you don't love it, no matter what, ultimately don't feel the need or the pressure to do whatever it is everyone else wants you to. Yes, you're a father. Yes, you're a husband. Yes, you have to provide. You have to do all these things that everyone's telling you to do. But if you've made enough money, your marketability is through the roof. Yes, if you decide to not box anymore, will that take a hit? Possibly. But at the same time, I also feel Ryan Garcia can do other things and he'll be all right. I just like to see a kid fall back in love with something he's done his whole life. I really do appreciate his dad. I know pro coach Henry on Instagram, Ryan Garcia's father, is very, very supportive. And it's great to see that his father knows his son and never once did he go, Ryan, what are you doing? Oh, my son is this. Oh, my son's that. Since the day his son said, hey, I don't feel like doing this, he was a dad first and a coach second. I know he's Ryan Garcia's first coach and no longer his main coach, but it's so good to see a father coach his son through a turbulent time because I'm sure his dad has never dealt with what Ryan Garcia has dealt with. No one has really, really dealt with what Ryan Garcia has dealt with as a fighter in terms of popularity at such a young age. Yeah, Mike Tyson is a perfect example, but Mike Tyson grew up in a different age. Mike Tyson grew up in an age where you had tabloids, you had media following you around, paparazzi, etc. This age is different. This age, you can literally never, ever escape what people are saying, what people are thinking. People can take videos of you when you're out with your family. They can harass your family, constantly talk shit, constantly just spew venom at you. And I think it just finally got to Ryan Garcia. But the fact that you know when to say when, I look at it as a strength. And I look forward to seeing the redemption and look forward to seeing him back. However long it takes, be in the gym, sharpen your tools, and then when you're ready, get back in. There's no perfect time for sure, but I do want to see a more polished, um, focused, and engaged Ryan Garcia because those videos, you see what happens when you don't use it. You lose it. In this game, if you're not sharp, if you're not on your P's and Q's, if you're not constantly training, the timing, the speed, the body just changes. And you know what? Sometimes your body needs to not be in that competition mode. Just making weight can put you in a bad mood mentally and physically. He looks more rested. I saw him hitting the bag, and yeah, it was hard. You saw him physically frustrated, but you didn't see the emptiness. You didn't see the, like, one time I was watching his podcast, and it just looked like he was just done with it all. Like his eyes were wandering. You saw his face. He just looked upset. Like he was just like, "What the fuck am I doing here?" And if boxing could be his refuge to come back, I'm willing to accept King Ryback in 135. I'm not going to sit here and call him, stupid names or just ignorant names like, "Oh, you're a bitch," or "Oh, you're soft," or "Oh, you're not built like the other guys." And you got to do this. Look, even those other guys aren't as famous as Ryan Garcia in this era, right? T.O. is not as big. Tank is not as big. Devin Haney is there. He's kind of grew up in the same era. And yeah, he has a big social media following. But even Devin Haney got a taste of it where when he fought Jorge Linares, he's pitching a perfect match, like literally just dominating Jorge Linares. We're talking about a former champion here. And decides to, "Oh, I'm going to show the fans, I'm going to prove to you guys I can do this." He gets caught, and all you hear about is, "Oh, Devin Haney got rocked." And imagine being Ryan Garcia. You knock out Luke Campbell, who was an Olympian, somebody that was a former champion, pushed Lomachenko to the brink, pushed a lot of good guys to the brink. Jorge Linares, been in there with nothing but dogs. And all you hear about is, "Oh, he dropped you. What if Tank hits you? Oh, well, when are you going to fight Tank?" You do one thing, then it just becomes something else. You do another thing, it becomes something else. That's something that happens with Tank Davis as well and all these guys. So I feel bad for Ron Garcia because all you're gonna hear about is, especially when he gets back in the gym, "Oh, like what were you going through? What were you doing?" All I ask is get in the gym, sharpen your tools, and just focus. Fuck the Instagram, fuck the media, fuck whoever you have to say fuck to fuck off, because you got to get in here and have that cocoon of positivity and just know, like, hey, I'm driven. Have your voice, the voice of people you respect, your coach, and get back in the gym. And I think you're going to be okay. Well, that's the episode for today. Ryan Garcia is back. Let me know how you feel. How do you feel about his departure? Are you willing to accept him? Do you feel like he'll never be accepted again? We don't know. But feel free to smash that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave some comments, let me know how you feel. Follow on Instagram at Good Boxing Podcast. And I just hope everyone has a great day. Be well.